One of the funniest things about the United States of America, one of the most ridiculous developments in our culture, is that now you could just run as an open racist with discriminatory policies, and it's completely and totally fine. And not that there aren't people that are opposed to it, but it is not even a notable thing. The video that I'm talking about today has 574 views, meaning I had to dig up and locate this segment in order to present it to you, even though it should be national news that a member of the Denver City Council is proposing a white tax on businesses in order to pay reparations to black and brown people. And I know you guys are going to say, hey, look, this is definitely well-deserved. Obviously, we know the capital of the Confederacy was Denver, Colorado. That's essentially where slavery was quite literally invented in the United States of America. They actually killed John F. Kennedy and Abraham Lincoln. I don't even know why I mentioned John F. Kennedy, from citizens that definitely 100% came from Colorado, and it was just horrible and horrific and full of evil white racism, and we all understand why Colorado wants to do reparations based on those definite 100% historical facts. However, this is just a proposal, and it's a proposal that this city councilwoman is confident enough in that she'll actually put it out while she's coming up for re-election. Now, we're going to get into the story. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about who this person is. But before I do that, this video is sponsored, so let me fling it to the sponsor. I did a little fling like a frisbee. Then I'll bring it back over here and we'll discuss it on the other side. Collagen has been referred to as the modern day fountain of youth, and it's easy to understand why. Supplementing with this powerful nutrient can help restore the glow in your skin, thicken up your hair, and deal with issues in your nails. And the collagen powder that I trust, that I recommend to you, is over at healthwithjustice.com. It's got 5 different types of this key nutrient to help you restore that youthful glow, fix your brittle nails, and your thinning hair. And for members of my audience, guess what? 51% off if you go to healthwithjustice.com. That's 51% off. Get this deal before it's gone.
A Denver City Councilwoman up for re-election is suggesting a tax on white business owners to pay reparations to black and brown business owners. Councilwoman Candi CdeBaca has not made a formal proposal of a race-based tax, which would almost certainly draw an immediate challenge on constitutional ground.
I like that this news anchor on Up Next News, don't have any idea what that is, has to read this teleprompter, but even he is like starting to break character. And he has to point out the most obvious and stupid points about this proposal, like the fact that it would be immediately challenged on constitutional grounds because you can't pass laws that racially discriminate under the United States Constitution.
Capitalism was built on stolen land, stolen labor, and stolen resources.
No, absolutely not. Capitalism was built on private property rights, which is the respecting of individuals' right to own property, also rule of law. So everything you're saying is completely and utterly wrong. Throughout all of human history, people stole from one another. They stole land from one another. There were limited property rights. We did not find our way to prosperity from that. What actually led us to prosperity was recognizing the rights of individuals, private property rights, and rule of law. It's absurd for you to make that claim. You are an absurd human being, and by no means should you be allowed to hold elected office in any place in this country. Try North Korea. Your ideas might work a little bit better there.
Denver Councilwoman Candi CdeBaca, Democratic Socialist, posted the clip from the runoff election forum this week to her TikTok.
A check today could not undo the cumulative impact of generations of that stolen wealth in all of those categories.
Isn't it wild that we have areas of this country that are so left-wing, so progressive, that they actually elect people who are anti this country, enemies of our country, enemies of individual liberty, that actually call themselves socialists? This is considered a normal thing, and this person is talking all kinds of crazy nonsense about how she's in favor of reparations. We have to give reparations to all the blacks and browns who were affected by the evil white racism, but one check, just not enough. It's never enough. I don't know if you guys know this. We gotta do more. We gotta think of more. We gotta really punish white people in order to right the historical wrongs and the historical injustices. Remember, Denver, capital of the Confederacy.
Both CdeBaca and her opponent, Darrell Watson, support racial reparations.
I give up. The country's done. Denver, Colorado City Council, or at least this seat, absolutely done. This crazy woman who's in favor of reparations, which by the way is a race-based wealth transfer, not something that is repairing damages. It is welfare based on race. It punishes one race in favor of another, is running in an election, and I'm ready to root for her opponent, and then I find out her opponent is also in favor of this racist garbage.
Watson suggested private business investment in underserved communities. CdeBaca suggested that Denver's white-led businesses could pay an extra tax that would go to minority-owned businesses.
So essentially this election is a competition of woke idiots. On the one hand, you have a guy, Watson, who says, I'm in favor of reparations, but I think them reparations should go to black-owned businesses because black-owned businesses, black-owned businesses, black-owned businesses. Meanwhile, on the converse, you have the even more woke, even more insane candidate who's like, I agree, one check is not just going to solve it, and I agree, we should definitely pay the black businesses the welfare from the government, but the thing is, we should concoct something so ridiculously racist that everybody knows I'm the craziest person in the room, and I'm going to call that a white tax, a tax on white businesses. If you're a white-owned business, guess what? You pay more in taxes in order to subsidize the minorities, because we all know that every small business, every large business, any kind of business that has a white person at the head of it, essentially got that business due to the fact of the slavery that was going on in the city of Denver. If you moved to Denver 3 weeks ago and you set up a business, guess what? Your business is based on the slavery that, of course, was prevalent in the capital of Denver, Colorado, the capital of the Confederacy, as we all know and learn from our history books.
You could be collecting those extra taxes from white-led businesses all over the city and redistributing them to black and brown-owned businesses who are not targeted or who are simply just black or brown owned. And that's one way to give back in the business form fashion.
So one of the things that you guys should notice and take note of whenever the conversation comes to reparations and specific proposals related to reparations is that all of these people already have it built in that whatever they're going to force upon you, whatever ridiculous racist piece of legislation they're trying to cram down unconstitutionally in order to steal wealth from people who actually earned it and give it to people based on their racial status, it always is never enough. It's always just one proposal that we could do, but when that fails, when it doesn't produce the results that they want, or when it succeeds and it hurts the people that they're trying to hurt, it's not going to be the end of it. It's just the beginning. So she's like, you could just tax the white people businesses and give it to the minorities. But just remember, that's just the beginning and it's never enough. And honestly, we got to think of 18 different ways in order to get this through. If they ever pass a reparations legislation and ever got the Supreme Court to somehow approve of that legislation, make no mistake, the purpose of them going to the court is to use that precedent to pass all these different kind of pieces of legislation in order to elevate who they believe should be elevated in society and punish people who are actually succeeding naturally in the society. And by the way, that is not just white people. What we see throughout our country is if you look at the top ethnic groups, and by the way, the top earners are the ones who pay all the taxes, white people aren't at the top. Now, I also think it would be smart to divide up this group of white people into different ethnic groups because you would see the variety amongst them. But overall, these people, the tax-paying groups, if you're paying net taxes, you're the one who's on the hook for these welfare payments.
CdeBaca told me San Francisco has a similarly aimed legacy business program.
So one of the things that I love, and I'm sure it's labeled as racist by this Democratic socialist, let's be honest, communist candidate advocating for racial redistribution, that this local reporter just fact-checked her objective nonsense in one shot.
CdeBaca told me San Francisco has a similarly aimed legacy business program. San Francisco's legacy business program supports long-standing small businesses regardless of the race of the owner, and it's funded through the city's general fund, not by taxing white-led businesses.
She says, oh, it's modeled after what they're doing in San Francisco, and he's like, let me explain something to you. San Francisco is not doing this. Also, there is not a specific white tax in order to fund this. They're pulling the money from the general fund in order to support all small businesses regardless of race. And by the way, it's actually legacy small businesses, so it's actually established companies using government to help them. I don't agree with that policy in San Francisco, but make no mistake, it is not what this woman is advocating for. It's not what she's talking about. She's citing it as an example, but it is in no way, shape, or form like what she's proposing.
CdeBaca also told me the constitutionality of a race-based tax is not a factor because the tax would be considered voluntary if it was collected by business improvement districts or BIDs. A BID is formed when a majority of business owners in an area vote to create a quasi-governmental agency with taxing authority. The City of Denver's Finance Department confirmed that once a BID is created, its taxes are not voluntary for businesses within the district.
He did it again, and it's absolute savagery right there. He says, oh, she gave me the statement saying, listen, constitutionality, schmonstitutionality. That doesn't matter. We're going to create something called a BID. You probably don't know about it, you dumb local news reporter, but I do because I'm a member of the city council. And once you have a BID created, then all of a sudden the taxing authority thing, that's voluntary, bro. Like, that's just paid voluntary. So it's not like it's a constitutional issue or anything like that. So of course, this local news reporter, not being an idiot, understanding that he's talking to a Democratic socialist who is a complete and utter buffoon, goes and contacts the city, checks this out, and they make it objectively clear that yes, this would be unconstitutional, and no, once they set up these business districts and they have taxing authority, the taxes, because they're called taxes, are not voluntary. So yes, this would be wildly unconstitutional, but it's just interesting that we have a member of the city council blatantly and openly lying in order to forward her racist agenda.
There is a way for us to change that structure and put black and brown people in ownership positions over our basic needs.
All of these people just talk garbage all the time. There's a way for us to deal with the systemic structure and put black and brown people at the center of the conversation about our ownership and our ownership of our owner needs ownership. Wow, ain't I so darn progressive.
After CdeBaca's post was picked up by right-wing media outlets, her office released a statement saying she is being, quote, targeted by a white nationalist mob.
So of course, other people have picked up this story, they've talked about it, and what ends up happening once this TikTok goes viral, once people listen to the words that she's saying, all these things are completely untrue, by the way. Every way that she says that this proposal is constitutional and totally workable, completely false. She's like, you know what? White nationalist mob. The white nationalist mob is coming at me. I don't know if you guys know this, but talking about how I'm not telling the truth consistently and advocating for ridiculous racialist policies, there's white nationalism. There's an evil white racist. And what do you expect? Honestly, Denver, Colorado, the foreground of the Confederacy. I'm pretty sure the Confederate battle flag was actually invented in Denver, Colorado, right before they invented slavery and right before they started the Civil War and assassinated John F. Kennedy and Abraham Lincoln on the same day at the same time, all in Denver, Colorado, all to preserve the slave trade, which originated there. The transatlantic slave trade, not sure if you guys know this, it actually started in Colorado and concluded in Colorado. It was actually Colorado, Africa to Colorado in Denver, and the Colorado River was actually the main thing. You know, whatever. Just pay the white tax, you bigot.
CdeBaca is frequently the only dissenting voice on a number of issues before City Council, and she's been a top target of the Democratic establishment in the city since she won a runoff against former City Council President Albus Brooks 4 years ago. CdeBaca faces a runoff election in June.
So this guy says, hey, look, this is our crazy member. This is the dumb idiot in our city council, and the Democratic establishment is not a fan of her because she's essentially somebody to hold up and attack repeatedly because all of her positions are stupid and far more out there than your standard left-winger on the Denver City Council. But then he also says that she beat in a runoff election the city council president for the Democrats. So she unseated a Democrat. So at least in this area of Denver, she is representative of an absolutely crazy constituency. And one of the ways that we know that is that her runoff election, as told to us earlier, is between her and another guy who's in favor of reparations, but possibly not as in favor of it as this woman right here. Look, I want black Americans and I want minorities to succeed in the United States of America. In fact, I want everyone to succeed in the United States of America, and that is possible. There are things that you can do if you take control over your own life that will lead to success. You are your best advocate, but if you're into this grievance mongering, if you're expecting a handout from the government to solve all your problems, then you're heading in the wrong direction. People like the city councilwoman do not respect you. They do not believe that you have the capacity to govern yourself, make decisions in your own life, nor do they believe that you're in control over your own life. they actually unironically believe that white people are superior, and in order to raise up minorities to somewhere near equivalent to white status, they have to take from the white people and give it to the minorities because they don't believe you can get it on your own. These people are not your friends. They are your enemies. These people will violate anyone's human rights in order to achieve their objectives. And even if you think you're covered under the blanket of marginalized people now, it's only a matter of time before she finds somebody who's more marginalized than you in order to strip your rights away in order to serve them. This is not the path forward. It is absurd. It is insane. If you want to improve your life, improve your families, improve your next generations, then the onus is on you. You can do it. You are an adult. You are a sentient human being. You are an actor. You are an agent, and get control over your life. But hey, those are just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you like this video, then show them by leaving a like. You can subscribe for more content if you want to see more content. Follow me on all my social medias if you want to follow me on social media. This has been me talking about the Denver City Councilwoman pushing for reparations and a white tax. Till next time.